I'm sure that we've all relied on satellite navigation at some point or another. Whether it's to find the opening hours of a nearby restaurant or shopping centre, to plan a journey, or simply just to avoid roadworks, toll roads, or traffic jams. You could use a traditional TomTom or Garmin device, or if you're posh, you could use your car's built in navigation. But let's be honest, they are pretty rubbish. The UX is horrible, it runs really slow, and it's outdated after a week. So just like 1 billion other monthly active users, you probably just use Google Maps. I mean, at this point it'd be rude not to. Google Maps is updated 50 million times a day. Roadworks and traffic data are available in real time, and everything you need to know about over 200 million businesses as detailed as the weather and humidity are readily available. What's best is Google Maps is and always has been completely free to use on any smart device, and it comes pre-installed on all Android devices. To be fair, it's probably something we all take for granted because Google Maps isn't really a virtual product like Gmail or cloud storage. It takes a ton of resources to keep up to date, from all the satellites and drones, planes and street view cars, and all the time it takes to stitch together all these petabytes of images to make a seamless view of our world. It's estimated to have cost Google around $500 million just to get it to where it is today. But there seems to be no obvious way as how any of this is even monetized. Google are an advertising company at the core, and they don't show banner or video ads anywhere like they do on YouTube or Google search, yet they still managed to pull in $11 billion just from Maps last year. Well, the monetization methods through Maps are actually quite helpful and are doing more to help you than sell you something. So this is another business theory, and we're looking at how Google Maps makes money. Google Maps' origin dates back to around 2003, a time when Google was in the early stages of finding its business model of paid search. Google Maps wasn't actually developed by Google themselves, but was born through a series of acquisitions, all of which played a major part in the development of the software. At the time, Google's main competitors, Yahoo and AOL, already had established their own mapping solutions with Yahoo Maps and MapQuest.
Oh, I found
In
it.
2003, mapping software was pretty primitive compared to today's standards. You'd have to go onto the website, put in your end-to-end points, and then the software would present you with a list of turn-by-turn directions in text, which then you would have to print off and follow that way. But in Sydney, Australia, a startup named Where2 Technologies was working on developing a new type of mapping software, one which was a lot more dynamic and the directions were actually on the map and not just a printed list. However, a project of this size would require a ton of resources and money, something that this startup of just 4 people didn't have. So in 2004, Where2 presented this project to Sequoia Capital, a venture capitalist firm in America. This went pretty well, and Sequoia offered $2 million for around 40% stake in the company. But before the deal could be closed, Yahoo announced a game-changing feature to Yahoo Maps, the integration of Yellow Pages business listings directly into the Maps interface. Sequoia saw this as development of a potential market dominance by Yahoo, and then withdrew their offer. However, as a gesture of goodwill, they facilitated a meeting between Where2 Technologies and Google, recognising the necessity for Google to respond to Yahoo's advancements. Google saw the potential in Where2's proposal to pivot towards a browser-based platform and move forward with acquiring Where2 Technologies, striking a deal valued at around $50 million in a combination of cash and stock. At around about the same time, Google also acquired 2 other companies, Keyhole and ZipDash, both offering mapping software but different technologies. So Keyhole offered a different type of mapping software. Initially it was a desktop application, but unlike Where2 software, which focused on streets and landmarks, this desktop application revolutionised mapping by offering detailed satellite imagery of virtually every corner of the globe. Users could zoom in from space to a street level, gaining a unique perspective on geographical features, urban landscapes and natural wonders. However, the term satellite isn't entirely accurate, as the images are actually captured using a combination of satellite and low-flying planes and helicopters. This is what makes extreme close-ups and 3D renders of Earth possible. And unsurprisingly, it was this software that then went on to become Google Earth when it was launched in 2005. Keyhole was purchased for around $35 million and it was kept as a desktop feature all the way until 2020 when it became a browser-based application. And probably the most undervalued acquisition of its time was probably Google's acquisition of ZipDash. ZipDash was a pioneering company developing an innovative technology which focused on real-time traffic data. Their approach involved leveraging mobile phones to send and receive data, offering a glimpse into the future of traffic monitoring and navigation. But in 2004, smartphones as we know them today were in their infancy stages, and the first iPhone wouldn't even be released for another 3 years. It wasn't until 2008, with the release of mobile version of Google Maps, that ZipDash's technology found its true relevance. Google purchased ZipDash at the time for around $2 million, which is chump change for what the technology is actually worth today. After all the acquisitions were done, and with the development team in place, the very first version of Google Maps was launched on the 8th of February 2005. And on the day of launch it received a ton of traffic, but this was because it went viral on a blog website called Slashdot the night before. And over the next year, Google Maps performed pretty well, but it still wasn't competing anywhere near Yahoo Maps or MapQuest, despite being a much better product. The problem they were facing is that in 2005-2006, the internet was so slow, and people didn't really see any value proposition in moving away from Yahoo and MapQuest because they were all really as slow as each other. Google quickly realised that one of the things that made them so popular with Google Search was the fact that their loading speeds were instantaneous, and they quickly identified that speed would be the primary factor in gaining market share and completely rewrote the software, focusing solely on performance and speed. Upon relaunch, the revamped Google Maps delivered instantaneous performance, and on top of that they leveraged the imagery they obtained from Google Earth and Keyhole acquisition, and added satellite imagery to its maps, which captivated users and sparked widespread excitement. Fast forward to today, and now Google has become the most popular navigation app in the world, with over 1 billion monthly active users and over 10 billion downloads on the Google Play Store alone. And as impressive as all that is, how does any of this make money for Google? You might have heard the saying, if you aren't the customer, then you are the product. Well, this is true for many of Google's products, including Google Maps. Although we don't pay directly for the services Google provides, our data holds immense value. Google gathers our data from users' interactions with maps, such as search queries, location history and reviews, and this data is then used for the first method of monetization, which is business advertising. When you search for a business on Google Maps, it shows you the nearest places based on your location and its ratings. However, local businesses can pay to appear at top of these search results in specific areas. Businesses can also opt to pay a fee to have their company logo displayed, instead of the standard location pin icon, at their business locations on Google Maps. These appear irrespective of whether you have specifically searched for them or not, as long as you're in the vicinity. This feature allows businesses to enhance their visibility and brand recognition on the map, catching the attention of potential customers who may be exploring the area. Another way is apparently retail locations as landmarks. Occasionally, navigation directions include references to branded landmarks, for example, turn left after Domino's Pizza. But I have actually yet to see this happen when using maps myself. If you've seen this feature happen, let me know in the comments because I'm genuinely curious if this is just hearsay or not. And the second, and probably most profitable way that Google Maps makes money, is through its APIs. Google provides its mapping technology to businesses in need of reliable mapping software. These businesses pay Google for access to Google Maps, which offers various levels of complexity tailored to their needs. Pricing is determined based on factors such as the number of map load requests per month and the desired level of detail, ranging from basic software development kits, SDKs, to advanced features like route planning, street view, and even more detailed information like air quality and pollen levels. Uber and Lyft, in the early days, actually relied on Google Maps for their ride-sharing apps, so when you hailed a ride or tracked its route, or when you selected a pickup location, the mapping software used was actually Google Maps at one point. Uber then added its own features such as driver tracking and personalised touches on top of the Google Maps foundation. Other companies include Airbnb, Zillow, and delivery services like DoorDash and Grubhub. And at one point, Snapchat even utilised Google Maps for its Snap Map feature. However, it stopped using Google Maps in 2018 in favour of using Mapbox for its better pricing and development tools. The requests themselves are not really all too expensive, they only cost around 3 cents per request on average, but if you quantify it with a company as big as Uber, who have 150 million active users and facilitate around 20 million trips a day, at 3 cents a go, you can quite clearly see how this method of monetization make Google bank. Uber and Lyft paid Google $58 million just to use its APIs back in 2016 to 2018. And that's just two of the reported 8,288 companies utilising Google Maps APIs. And as more and more features are implemented, it'll only be more likely that it'll get widely more adopted. All of these use cases with Google's APIs and advertising placements inside of Maps clearly start to add up to the $11 billion that they've made in 2023. With all financials put aside though, what Google has achieved in 9 years by combining three groundbreaking technologies is truly remarkable. With its comprehensive mapping of the entire world through street and satellite views, coupled with incredible pinpoint accuracy, finding any business, address or location has become effortless, and Google Maps has revolutionised navigation and exploration on a global scale.